Stepney. This is a story about Stepney, the Bluebell Engine. One day I sent him to work with Mavis and Toby at the quarry. I told him to leave there before it got dark, but he didn't listen to me. Stepney usually worked with his friend Rusty, but one day the Fat Controller said, "I hear you could do with a change of sights. I want you to help Toby and Mavis at the quarry." "Thank you, sir," Stepney said. Shall I be away for long?" "Just today," said the Fat Controller, "and make sure you leave the quarry before it gets dark. It's very easy to get lost up there." Stepney soon arrived at the quarry. Toby and Mavis were waiting for him. "We're glad you're here to help," said Toby. "We have a lot of work to do." Are those my trucks?" asked Stepney. "Some of them," said Mavis. "There are lots more waiting in the sidings." "There are more merrier," said Stepney happily. Stepney really enjoyed working with Mavis and Toby. Later that day, the quarry foreman spoke to Stepney's driver. "Do you want to take a night special to the building to a building site in a new branch?" he asked. "Yes, please," said Stepney's driver. He had forgotten the Fat Controller's warning about how easy it was to get lost up there in the dark. Soon night came. "Be careful, Stepney," said Toby. "It gets very dark on the hillside tracks." "I will," said Stepney. "Thank you for a lovely day. I do hope we can get back again soon." "Watch out," said Mavis. "The line can be rather spooky at night." "Thanks for the warning," said Stepney as he puffed away. Stepney made the delivery. Once everything had been unloaded, he set off for home. That was when the trouble began. It was very foggy, so Stepney could hardly see where he was going. "Mavis was right," he said nervously. Suddenly everything does look rather spooky." "There's a signal box ahead," said his driver. The signalers turned to green. Someone must be expecting us, but the point had accidentally set in the wrong direction. Stepney and his driver didn't realise, so they carried on. After a while they realised they didn't know where they were. "We're lost," said Stepney's driver. "I think we should have to wait until the fog clears." Suddenly they heard a noise. "What was that?" said Stepney nervously. As the fog cleared, they realised that they were in the scrapyard. Stepney's driver and fireman went to find the foreman. Two diesels approached Stepney. "You'd make good scrap," said Stepney. They said. "Help!" cried Stepney, but no one was there to hear him. The diesels took Stepney to a smelter's shed. "Goodbye, Stepney," they said. Stepney looked up nervously. There was a huge grabber moving down towards him. "But I'm not meant to be scrapped," he cried. "Well, it's too late now," said the diesels. But just as the machine was about to grab him, suddenly it stopped. The Fat Controller had turned it off. He had saved Stepney. "Oh, thank you, sir," says Stepney gratefully. "You are very lucky that I decided to visit this yard tonight," said the Fat Controller sternly. "I can't always be around to save you, Stepney. You have to be more careful." Stepney promised to always listen to the warnings from then on. Stepney's driver was in trouble too. He had agreed to do the night job without asking the Fat Controller first. He was very sorry for the trouble he had caused. He promised that he was always ask the Fat Controller in future before taking on any night jobs. "I have learned something useful from this," said Stepney. "What's that?" asked the Fat Controller. "I've learned there's no place like home," Stepney said. "That's very true," said the Fat Controller. And now that's where you are going now." When Stepney got back to the station, he told Rusty all about his scary time on the foggy hillside and his near miss at the scrapyard. Even though it had been exciting to work somewhere different for a while, Stepney realised that he was happiest working on the Fat Controller's railway with his good friend Rusty. The end.